Hey, good morning to Edmontonians and all those watching that aren't from Edmonton. I was just filming some video for the YouTube channel coming in January as per all your requests. And today's video, we're talking all about Crestwood because somebody asked to talk about Crestwood and Parkview, but we may not get to Parkview, so we might have to talk about that next week. We're going to first start off every single week. We talk about what's been happening in Edmonton's single family home market every single week. And then we're going to jump into the neighborhood information. If you are watching live, please go ahead and comment so that we can answer any questions that you may have. And so I'm going to start off with the active single family listings that are currently in Edmonton. We dropped slightly to 1,613 listings compared to 1,655. And this is again single family listings. I just recorded the November stats, and that monthly video will be coming out this Friday for you to see what's happened in all of November. Currently in December this week, we are looking at not much of a change week over week, and it is not a great thing that we're super low for buyers, but for sellers, you're definitely, if you're doing everything properly, you will be able to sell your home quickly for what you want, as long as what you want is realistic. So let's take a look at what deals went pending this last week. So the last 7 days, we've seen a little bit less sales than the week before, and that's quite normal. It is December, and this week, my guess is we're going to see even less sales. The next 2 weeks are probably going to be quite a bit lower than what we've been used to seeing. But you've seen a consistent 150 single family home sales every single week for like some time now. And with the interest rates dropping, you're going to start to see even more properties sell. Now, if you just tuned in, don't forget we're going to talk about Crestwood just after I finish talking about our stats. So if you have any questions about Crestwood, make sure you comment. In the last 7 days for sold, we saw 149 properties sell, and that is very similar. Like last week was 161. So again, the 150 to 160 is going to be quite normal to see. I don't think we're going to go under 100 over Christmas. Usually we get really quiet, but the December market's pretty darn strong right now. The numbers usually are a lot lower than this. And if we take a look at last year's sold compared to this year's sold for the same 7 day period, you're going to see the consistencies from last year to this year. So last year we had more. We had 172 sales, and we had a very busy spring market this year. Now, you're saying, Melody, there's like 30, almost 30 sales difference just for the 1 week. Is it really that busy this year? Yes, it is still very, very busy this year for December. And I anticipate a very, very busy spring market. And a lot of people are also anticipating it more so even than they were last year. One, the rates are lower and rules have changed. As of December 15th, if you were buying a house over $1 million, those rules changed. 30-year amortization, that rules changed. So there's a lot of things that have changed, and so has the price. The price last year was almost 10% lower than it was this year, and things are suspected to get even busier in the spring, which means a lot of people are causing this little mini spring market right now because they're trying to avoid that. Now, that being said, for people looking to sell, the week before Christmas and the week of Christmas is not the ideal time to put your house up on the market. Doesn't mean it won't sell. You just have a lot less people looking that you will versus after that break. So I want to talk to you about Crestwood because some of you guys have been asking about what's happening in Crestwood and what do houses go for in there. And guess what? Did you know that Crestwood is also home of Candy Cane Lane? Candy Cane Lane is all about the lights. And so when you live in Candy Cane Lane, there's an expectation for you to be a part of Candy Cane Lane. So the affordability of that area, don't forget you need to probably accommodate for the electrical because it happens every single year. Let's take a look at what's going on and where is Crestwood. So I'll show you. If you take a look, this is Crestwood right here. I'll zoom out so you can kind of see. This is all of Edmonton. It's kind of a little bit low there. And this is central. So this is where Crestwood is. This is where if you go down here, this is the airport area, southwest, west. So it is more central west, is close to downtown. And these homes are usually more expensive and more on the higher end scale. So you can see here, this area was built a lot. It's in a much older neighborhood. If you've watched my other videos and one I filmed today, I'm going to be talking about how does Edmonton work in terms of the age of homes and types of homes that you'll find. this is one of those older neighborhoods. And there's a lot of newer homes in here because a lot of people have done infills, they've renovated, they've done massive renovations. And so even though this is closer to the central part of Edmonton, does not mean it's super, super old. Um, and you can see the zoo is here in case you're looking at the zoo. Oh, you can't see it because of that banner here. This is the zoo. It's like in the Parkview area, just right here. That's where the zoo is. So in Crestwood, this is where we are. Zooming in here. You're close to the ravine. You're close to North Saskatchewan River. The drive to downtown is maybe 15, 20 minutes if you don't have to deal with traffic. But let's be honest, you can see there's already red. There's a lot of construction right now because of the LRT. But this is the infamous Candy Cane Lane. I was going to show you some pictures. It runs along 148th Street from 92nd to 99th Avenue. So when you're looking at this here, 148th Street is right here. And then 92nd to 99th is all the way from here, all the way up to here. It gets quite busy. Yeah, 148th Street, 92nd to 99th Avenue. That whole strip here. So if you're buying a house over there, usually you're expected. We do sometimes see houses that don't have lights, but it's kind of sad because there's a lot of lights. They also have sleigh rides and a whole bunch of festivities that happen on the weekends. And then it does say that sleigh rides are canceled when it's super cold. You don't actually have to pay to go to the Candy Cane Lane. It's just if you're planning to do sleigh rides. And you can see these are the dates that they have. I wanted to show you also the pictures you might see in Candy Cane Lane. So there's a lot of houses that, this is actually in Edmonton. No, it is not in Edmonton. And there, of course, there's a movie about it. So let's just do this. There we go. All right. So you can see this is kind of the homes you'll see. Some of them are more magical than others, and some of them have been there for a long time. There's lots of places for you to take photos now, and some of them, see, you can see, you don't have to be super fancy, but as long as there are some lights there. So let's talk about the real estate that's happening in Candy Cane Lane. Now, on the main street, 149th Street, they're going to settle for less because of the fact that it's on a main road. Candy Cane Lane's actually not on the main road. It's inside of the neighborhood. And let me just show you the actives first. So you've got everything from 2.2 million. Well, actually the highest list price is 3.675 million. And you can see it's 3.6. It's a brand new, gorgeous house. Although I don't know if it's brand new or if it's a house that was built. Let me just see for a second. I think I recognize this house. It's 4,300 square feet, 102 days on market. It was built in 2024, so it's brand new. And then you've got houses that are over $1 million here. And let's take a look at the cheapest house. The lowest price is 235, which is probably or 249 is probably a lot. Where is it? So this one, 142nd Street is also a main road. They're selling half that land. So the original lot would have been this size, and then they took it apart, and they have one house built here, and they're building another. This is quite common in these older areas. That's one for sale currently right now. And this house sold for $1 million. So these areas, this is an updated older bungalow. The layout is very similar to what it would have been, but they've taken some walls out, put in some new kitchens. The beams would have not been original. These curves are quite nice. Now, with lots of new modern architecture in this home, you don't definitely see this in the older homes. And you're paying not only for the finishings, but also the location because you are so close to downtown. So this is just over $1 million. You can buy a 2-story for $1 million in the suburbs, but this is prime location downtown. Basement's finished. And that house sold in 8 days. So it was very quick on the market, very desirable, what people wanted. And it was an 1,846 square foot bungalow. So it's quite large. They typically are not that big. You'll see 1,200, 1,300 square feet is more of the average. This is a one for sale right now for $499 in Crestwood. And see, this is original, right? So original, but also smaller. Now with that one I showed you over a million, it could have been they could have put an addition in to add more square footage because these homes have very large building pockets. So that one sold for over a mil. And then this one is bungalow as well. Here's a 2-story. These are these infills, which is quite common in Crestwood as well too. So you can see these are not duplexes. These are sometimes they're not even called skinnies, but it just depends on the actual definition of how wide it is. But these homes are pretty traditional in the layouts because there's only so much space. You have the front living room, the middle dining room, and then the kitchen in the back. Sometimes you'll see the kitchen in the middle and the dining room in the back. This situation is this. And then sometimes a glass wall, sometimes not a glass wall. Basements usually are finished in these as well too. It's got the open basement riser, like stairs completed. Really nice house. Gas range, and that one is the one that sold for 873,000 in October, and it sold in 5 days. So you can see here things move pretty fast. This one that sold for 1.3, let's take a look, is a bigger home. These are the ones that I used to dream of living in. These are arts and crafts styles, and I thought, oh, this would be great to live in this neighborhood. Lots of tree-lined streets in Crestwood, and a lot of these nicer homes, but you also have the older bungalows. This obviously wasn't original to the home. This would have been infilled back in that time, and I think this is probably early 2000s is when this was built. Oh, okay. So when it says 1956 and you see that, what that means is the foundation was actually never taken away. So they built on top of the existing square footage. So if this house is, what's the square footage on this one? 2251, maybe cut that in half. So maybe that was like an 1100 square foot bungalow that they just built over top. That's why it says 1956, because obviously that was not originally built in 1956. This house here is a house that would have been on the original lot. And oops, I gotta move this back down. Didn't realize you guys couldn't see it. This is not a split lot. So they actually kept the whole land and built a bigger home instead of doing the split. So you'll see some split the lot and have two. You'll see bigger homes like this instead. The garage in the back, you can see they still have a decent sized yard. When you do the splits, because they're so deep, you don't have much of a yard. You can see a bit of a pad here. I don't know if that's for a basketball net. But then you can see the back garage here. So Crestwood doesn't have a lot of this is the last 60 days. There's not a lot of sales that come and go. You don't have much choice right now to buy in these areas. This is, if we had $499 and then $699. So there's not a lot of options under 700. For sure not, there's only one under 500. Oh, except for that piece of land, that half piece of land. So this is kind of a more traditional bungalow layout where you have the living room in the front and then you have the kitchen in the back. Sometimes I see this wall get blown out, and this is a supporting beam wall, or beam. So you have to make sure that it's engineered properly. But I've seen this come out and then the island is here. But in this situation, they would have also taken a piece of this wall out to do what they've done here, and the dining room, and then the basement stairs are back here to go down to the basement. These cabinets look like they were done in the 2000s. You've got granite countertops and the tile floor. None of that's original. A lot of these homes would have had the original hardwood floors in them. That doesn't look like the original hardwood floors unless they've been stained. And you can see some of these windows have been done. So this is a traditional bungalow layout. Again, not the easiest to find these. And a lot of times they have one bathroom, not two. This one does look like it's been modified because the bedroom is quite large here. Let's see how many bedrooms this one is. This one is $699. 2 bedrooms above grade. Okay, so yeah, they got rid of one of the bedrooms and expanded that 1 bedroom. And it's harder to sell a 2-bedroom than a 3-bedroom because most families want to have the kids upstairs and not someone in the basement. So I haven't seen any questions come up yet with the Crestwood area, but if you want to know about Crestwood, just comment down below on this video if you're watching, and I can dig in more. But if you want to live in Candy Cane Lane, This is what it would look like to cost to live there. And on another note, make sure you go and enjoy it. Have a very Merry Christmas. I will be back in the new year. This is my last update, other than the videos you'll see being recorded. So have a great Merry Christmas.